The woman took off her gloves, only 3 fingers were revealed surprisingly. Then she removed her shoes, and only 1 toe was there astonishingly. Next she pulled off the wig from her head, transforming into a bald person. She instructed other women in the audience to do the same, while she walked to the podium opening her mouth, revealing dozens of teeth. The group of witches finally showed their true faces, gathering in this hall, discussing their plan to eliminate all the children in the world. Because witches inherently despised the smell of children, so the Grand High Witch developed a magic potion dropping the liquid from the bottle into food, deceiving children into drinking it, turning them all into mice to be eaten. Unexpectedly, there was a boy hiding under the podium, carefully concealing his pet Miles in his arms. From the gaps in the wooden boards, he saw the witch eating bugs pulled from her scalp. The boy was scared, holding his breath, but unable to control the smell on his body. The witch on top smelled at her nostrils, instantly enlarging following the scent upwards. She confirmed the stench was coming from under the podium. Enraged, witch flipped the podium over, smashing it to pieces, but found nothing. The boy had already hidden in the nearby ventilation duct. The witch followed the scent, flying over. At a critical moment, another boy outside the door broke in and saved him. When the boy entered the door, the witch had turned back into a normal person, still holding chocolate to lure the boy over. Unexpectedly, the chubby boy found it insufficient, so the witch had no choice but to turn 1 piece into 6. As a result, after the boy finished eating, it still wanted more. The witch conjured 6 more pieces of chocolate to stall for time. 10 seconds later, the potion inside the boy's stomach took effect. The boy's ear started smoking. Then his buttocks caught fire, and he soared into the sky, leaving only his clothes emitting smoke, falling to the ground. When he crawled out of his clothes, he hadn't realized he had turned into a mouse and was trampled by hundreds of high-heeled shoes in panic. The boy inside the ventilation duct, watching him desperately escape, suddenly saw his pet mouse rushing out of the vent, dragging the boy by the tail all the way back to safety, while the boy inside was still in shock. The witch noticed him and forcibly dragged him out of the ventilation duct. She intended to turn the boy into a mouse as well. The witch took out grape-flavored soda and poured it into the boy's ear. 3 drops later, the boy's head emitted purple smoke. His orifices were all hiccuping. After convulsing all over his body, he unexpectedly flew into the sky. Not only did he shrink in size, but he also grew fur, leaving only his clothes floating to the ground. The boy struggled to crawl out of his clothes, only to discover that he had turned into a little mouse. Terrified mouse scampered away with its 4 legs, but still caught up by the witch grabbing its tail. He quickly called other mice for help. The white mouse rushed over and bit the witch's hand, causing her to scream in pain and accidentally hit herself. Unexpectedly, the witch chased after them, her hand magically stretching into the vent to catch the mice. The little mouse, seeing the chubby mouse falling behind, urgently reminded him to run with all 4 legs. They narrowly avoided the witch's giant hand, but there was a fan blocking the end of the ventilation duct. The little mouse quickly shouted for the chubby mouse to jump over and increase the weight. Everyone broke through the iron plate successfully. The pursuing giant hand was instantly swept away by the electric fan, forcing the witch to retract her arm, providing the 3 mice with time to escape. Unexpectedly, the final exit led to the kitchen. Being discovered here was no better than being caught by the witch. At this moment, the little mouse saw another vent across the kitchen. He quickly led the other 2 to climb along the metal frame, successfully reaching the other end of the kitchen's duct. He planned to take everyone to the 4th floor of the hotel to find his grandmother, because his grandmother was a wizard and only she would believe his words. The little mouse crouched at the elevator entrance, hearing that there happened to be a guest going to the 4th floor. He quickly slipped into the elevator with the other 2. The 3 mice hid in the guest's bag. The little mouse finally found his grandmother's door. When he frantically knocked on the door, he realized that a mouse's strength was too weak to make his grandmother open the door. He could only ring the doorbell, so he led the other 2 along the wall to the bottom of the doorbell. But the mouse's height was still insufficient. The little mouse quickly called the chubby mouse to stand on his feet. After climbing up, he pulled up the lightest white mouse to make it jump. Finally, they barely reached the doorbell. Now the 3 mice could safely return the way they came. Unexpectedly, they were seen by a cleaner on the way back, and the cleaner let out a scream, chasing them with a broom and a frenzy. Luckily, the little Miles is smart enough. At the moment his grandmother opened the door, he led everyone to rush into the room. He waited for the cleaner to leave, then shouted and screamed to attract his grandmother's attention, jumping onto her hand. The little mouse told his grandmother about the witches using a potion to turn children into mice. Unexpectedly, the witch lived downstairs from his grandmother, unable to bear watching all the children turn into mice. His grandmother decided to steal the potion with the little mouse and make an antidote. Grandma asked little mouse to help her steal something. She placed little mouse inside a half-knitted sock, then held the end of the sock's yarn and slowly sent it down to the balcony below. As soon as the sock touched the ground, little mouse inside rushed out. He quickly climbed onto the sofa in the room. After throwing the pillow on the ground, he stepped on the pillow and jumped onto the table. He wanted to steal the magic potion on the table, with the scent attracting him. He climbed to the edge of the plate where a potion was, used his 2 claws to pull it, and the potion was flung to the ground. At this moment, someone entered the room. Hastily, he hugged the potion and hid under the bed. Unexpectedly, he saw a woman with only 1 toe. The peculiar witch who forced forced him to drink the potion, directly turned from a little boy into a little mouse. That's why he came to steal the potion to make an antidote. Taking advantage of the witch's inattention, he quickly ran back to the sock with the potion. His grandma pulled the sock up, but Little Mouse was grabbed by the witch just as he reached halfway. Terrified Little Mouse dared not move. Fortunately, Grandma was clever, knowing that the witch disliked children. She falsely claimed that it was her grandson's sock, successfully making the witch release her grip in disgust. The sock was finally pulled up, and Little Mouse quickly brought the potion to his grandma, allowing his grandma to help make the antidote. Unexpectedly, Grandma added drops of essential oils, one after another, causing the potion to stir itself. Thinking that it could succeed on the first try, the potion turned directly into black, even more toxic. He and others no longer turned back into children. But if they didn't stop the witch from using the potion, all the children in the world would turn into mice. So the little mouse had a bold idea. He wanted to pour the potion into the soup the witch would drink. He quietly sneaked into the kitchen, placed the potion on the soup ladle. As long as he lifted one end of the ladle, the potion would slide down the other end of the ladle. That's why Little Mouse was jumping now, smoothly kicking the potion into the soup. Next, he just needed to hide in his grandma's bag. Followed his grandma to the restaurant to watch the show. Unexpectedly, he seized the right moment. Today, dozens of witches gathered for dinner and soup. Soon one witch convulsed and shot up into the air, transforming into a mouse and falling down. Then the second and the third. The witches in the restaurant all turned into mice and scurried around. Except for the Grand High Witch. She hadn't had the chance to drink the soup yet, but she couldn't save her companions either. Grandma was afraid the witch would realize and catch her, quickly escaped from the restaurant. Taking the opportunity, she rushed to the witch's room to eliminate the remaining potion. Unexpectedly, she was caught by the witch who arrived. Seeing her hands infinitely lengthening, about to tear herself apart, Grandma quickly called for Little Mouse's help. Little Mouse shouted to his companions to push the mouse trap on the ground tightly around the witch's foot. Taking advantage of the witch's pain and loud screams, he held the potion and jumped, successfully making the witch swallow the potion. He grabbed her wig as a parachute and safely landed. The witch's karma came. She also flew into the sky, transforming into a mouse. But Little Mouse turned around and saw that the witch now was larger than a basketball, still chasing after him to bite. Fortunately, Grandma quickly covered her with a flower vase, and the crisis was finally averted. Grandma opened the witch's suitcase to destroy the potion, but unexpectedly found the formula for the antidote. Little Mouse's kindness was rewarded, and everyone happily carried the suitcase away. Before leaving, they didn't forget to release the witch's pet to keep her company.